Not long ago, I rose up and was watching sunrises, and I saw Tammy Chin Mitchell and It Ellis on that morning, and their guest was Spice. Now, without you knowing, I am a follower of Grace Hamilton. And I say that specifically because that interview spoke to two personas. It spoke to Spice, the dancehall artist, the persona, the brand, the image, the force to be reckoned with in that space. And then it spoke of the Jamaican lady, businesswoman, entrepreneur, all the, I'm just searching for words, and there's so many words that we could use to describe this young lady. And my journey in discovering Grace Hamilton began when Lady saw then converted Christian Marian Hall really started to swing at Spice. And it was very concerning for me. And to be frank, you might say I look at things from a more intellectual, academical level. So I'll never say I'm a fan of either of them. I use that term fan very, very sparingly because for me, it conjures up an image that I'm not. I like what I like, I tolerate what I will tolerate, and then I dislike what I do not like. It's a simple thing for me, anyway. So I know of Spice. I know I had listened in passing to various interviews, and there was one with her and Mackerel and some other people. I'll never tell you that I know all the names, but I know enough to know the environment in which they perform. Now, let you on this very important thing. I don't think I've ever been to a dance per se. I grew up in Waterford, so I was exposed to a whole lot of things. We had dances on the street, people put up their boxes and whatnot. And so I know what a dance is like, but I was never permitted to be a part of it. And to be honest, I wasn't really interested. It's just who I am. But I love the study of people. I like watching people grow. I like the stories behind the personas. I like to know where they came from and how they got to here, the direction that took them on this journey. And I must confess that had Marion Hall not started picking at Spice, I would not have learned what I found was a fascinating story when she walked a mighty distance. I know she was from Portmore. Can't tell you the story exactly because it was some time ago, but I know she was from Portmore. I know an event was happening, I guess, somewhere in Portmore, maybe Cactus Nightclub, don't quote me. But whatever it was, she was told or she tried to get a bus, whatever it was. Somebody in the comments, please just enlighten me as to how the whole thing started. What I do remember is that she had to walk because maybe she never had enough money or there was no transportation, but she had to walk. And I remember something about her boot heel being eaten up by the stones. I had that very experience many times. You live in Waterford, you get your nice shoes, you're going to church, particularly when you start to wear the little heels. And it was so distressing to me when I would get home and I would see all of these um, holes poked in the side fabric of the heel, rendering it basically undressable anymore. So I could relate to that, and I started to create my own imagery of Spice going to this event. I know when she got there, I think they allowed everybody to go on, and she went on late, and she was almost barred from going on another then popular entertainer had to take up for her a man, and she got on the show, she did her thing, and that was the birth of her career. I wish I could tell the story a little better, but you know how it is when it's been a while. But the essence of it, and that is one of the reasons why some things I do not remember in detail, because the details are not the areas of interest, it's the outcome. And so I even remember another conversation where she spoke about um, people wanting the content that she produced. And I'm going to make an admission that's going to make eyebrows raise, but I don't care. When I watch music videos of these ladies, particularly Spice, and I see the agility, the flexibility, the way they can isolate body parts and move them to a rhythm, I am going to tell you, I will always say, my God, if I could do that, I would be the fittest person. I would be so happy. Now, take it in context. I'm not saying I want to gyrate for the public. I'm not saying I even want to do all the public displays that she does. What I am saying is the level of flexibility that she has. Oh my God, there must have been training or something that caused that to happen. Now, on the note of flexibility, that is where I want to stop for a moment, because having worked in the entertainment industry as a coordinator at Hedonism 2, I understand more than the average person about a lot of things concerning entertainment. I understand the production hours that go in before a 45-minute show. I understand the frustration of getting to the place, the location perhaps, and everything is not ready or it is not even open to you. I understand traveling for hours. I understand getting there, performing, doing your production, and you're not being paid at the end of it. I understand what it takes when the lights and the sound people not working with what was practiced. I understand when you have the wardrobe flare up. I understand so many things about the performing arts. And I'm excited about the performing arts. I love dance. I love from ballet to the various renditions, even ice skating. I'd be transfixed just watching the spins, the twirls, the whole nine yards. So, in essence, anything to do with the body, moving the body, the coordination, the everything. And so, much to my dismay, when I watched that interview and the amount of funds that Spice offered, for example, to St. Catherine High, I'm kind of thinking it was her alma mater, $1 million for costumes and whatnot in the performing arts. I am dismayed that there would be a group of people, and least of all in the church, to have any objection to persons helping other persons to excel in the performing arts. I am not going to go down the road of hypocrisy in the church. That's not what this video is about. I'm instead going to jump to another video. And this was, I think it was on stage. We're going to put a clip in there. And it fascinated me when Spice Grace Hamilton graciously said, the pastor in question who raised concerns about her could speak of all of the movements that she participated in.
Going back to this preacher guy earlier, this man of the cloth earlier who objected to your school tour, maybe you did press some of those buttons a little too much, that the content of your music is really so raw and so explicit sometimes that it has a negative effect on the fabric of life in Jamaica, on those young girls that you care about.
Well, to break it down a little bit, you see, when the pastor was talking about me, he was speaking on the brand Spice and my music videos, which means he's watching them. He spoke about them word for word. He spoke about all my moves. He spoke about every action that I did. He likes it. He was watching it. He's a fan.
I know that having heard exactly what she said, it really should shed some light on the whole, I don't want to overplay the word hypocrisy. I was sharing the thought just now, and the word came up, research. So apparently, the pastor, in his defense, could say that his knowledge was gleaned for research purposes. Oh gosh, I don't want to say all the things that I'm thinking. All the time people always say not everything good for talk, good for eat, good for talk, some story like that. Anyways, moving right along. Now, another thing that really demands a voice is the fact that Grace Hamilton is a writer, and it is not just any type of writer. Listen what she says about her book.
Grace Noir, Grace Noir. Grace Noir it's doing extremely great. Take a lot of time out of me because it's like every minute it just sold out. Yes. So I have to be keeping up on the inventory. And being an artist, being a mother, being an entrepreneur is not easy, but I try my best to keep up on it. It's doing extremely great. I recently opened a physical location for the first time in Atlanta. Wow. Because, I'm also on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, yes. Which showcase on MTV every Tuesday. So we just did the premiere and everyone came out and the support was there and I'm excited. But, funny enough, there was a debate when I was there. There was a reporter that was saying, oh, I'm at the first store for Spice, and a Jamaican woman was there. She said, this is not our first tour. She used to be at Jamaica. She used to have Mall Plaza. She used to have Spice tour. Yeah. So a lot of people here in Jamaica knew that I had, a franchise of store, because I had a store called Spice Tour in Jamaica that was in Ochery, Montego Bay, like all over. So I've been doing it for a long time. A long time I tried, I just know.
It's true. I am just going to focus on the entrepreneurial information provided on Smile. I keep saying Smile. I tell you, it's force a habit, Forgive me, CVM Sunrise. That is where I go for uplifting content in the morning. Did you know that Spice had a clothing store many years ago called Spicy Couture? Yes, in Otrius and in Montego Bay. Why did I lead with that? Because you see, you have to pay attention to the fact that she's not only a performer, and let us stick a pin right there. Being a performer, the outfits are essential. And can you imagine, as you perform, as people are tantalized with the designs that you wear, you can morph that into making a clothesline. Because you notice, the outfits that these entertainers wear, they are designed for them. And a lot of them are designed by some of the most remarkable designers here in Jamaica, the unsung heroes of the dancehall, let us say. You will never hear their names, but these are the people that prior to a show, they are pulling the long hours to get the most exciting costumes ready for these artists so they can go on and make a spectacular show. And you know what I mean? When we think about behind stage, the backstage starts long before you even enter backstage. And I did mention a little bit about the multiple hours and days and weeks and months of performance. But we never spoke about the persons who are preparing the outfits. We haven't even spoken about the nutrition. Some of these artists have nutrition counselors. We haven't spoken about the physical therapy because sometimes they damage their bodies in doing these things. We have not even spoke about the psychological care that they have to go through, particularly when they are badmouthed and belittled by you, the audience, who, in all honesty, could not spend or walk a day in their lives or in their shoe. So, with Spicy Couture being a brand, I think that was sheer genius. I think that if you can now make a money off the outfits and the designs, that's another stream of income. And it was mentioned in the interview with Tammy and with IT, because having opened Grace Noah in Atlanta, a statement was made that this was her first clothing line and her first store. And Grace was very happy to say that it was another lady in the vicinity who had to correct the person making the statement and to advise her that long time before Atlanta was a thing, there was her own clothing line and establishment in Jamaica. So we're looking at a more holistic picture. And that is where I want you to sit for a while. On this interview, I also learned about her Mirror 2025, which is her celebration of 25 years in the music business. She started in 1999. And forgive me if I keep comparing myself to her, because even in 1999, even at that time when I was still dancing, my body was clearly telling me that this is not going to last much longer. I say that this way for you to understand that as you age, the bumps in the road will probably limit your mobility. Now, can you imagine? 25 years later, Spice is able to put on those physically demanding activities. She's able to dance, she's able to command a stage. She has an entire dance troupe. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to watch the music video. If you are bothered by the lyrics, just mute it. Watch the artistry. Watch the movement. Watch the commanding of the stage. All that is happening, it's not by chance. These dance moves, these presentations are choreographed. Shall we backtrack to the choreographer? That's another individual altogether who, might I say, is earning a living because there is an artist such as Spice with such a demanding repertoire that this person, even in their creative ensemble, still have to reach deep within to pull out the sheer genius, so that when an artist like Spice steps out on stage, the wow is not missing. Because, you know, as a people, and I'm going to put Jamaicans at the forefront, they're very demanding. We are very demanding. And you cannot repeat a performance. There's always going to be those who will tell you that that move and that step and that bounce and that lift and that twirl and that twist was in another production. So, ladies, gentlemen, listen here. I might sound very passionate, and I'm listening to myself too, and I'm saying, boy, you sound like a real supporter of Spice. I'm a real supporter of talent. I'm a real supporter of anyone who dedicates 25 years plus plus, because it's not when she busts we're celebrating, we're celebrating the years that led up to it. In her interview, she said at her high school, which we were able to confirm, St. Catherine High, that's where she started all of her productions. And I must salute the high school community in Jamaica, because many times we were given an opportunity to shine. If you didn't have an audience to perform for, you wouldn't know that you were potentially a rising star. So, yes, I sound like a debating now. And yes, we could probably have this as another debate topic, but we shall move on. Now, to wrap up this particular discourse, there are two very important things that I want us to end with. I have written two prompt journals, and up to this point, nobody knows the name Sharon Sheriff. And I can safely say, up to this point, I've not yet sold 100 copies. I know that's going to change because y'all are going to now move me to another level. But up to this point, that hasn't happened. But if you think about Grace Hamilton having written the Navigational Business Planner, How to Make Your First Million, wouldn't you want to learn how to use systems that are in place to help you to move further, faster, closer to your goal? I personally think I need to get my hands on a copy of this Navigational Business Planner, and I think you should do too. Before this video, I am almost sure you did not know how prolific this graceful lady has been and continues to be. But if that was not enough, my dear Grace has now moved into my area of comfort with the launch of Bestie Weekend. She is now promoting Jamaica and bringing people in to Jamaica. I wonder if she plans to use me as her agent. We probably need to make a connection, because as it stands now, Grace Hamilton will be flying in no less than 100 persons into Jamaica to showcase our island. And they are going to be visiting Utris, Montego Bay, and Negril. It's going to be about food. It's going to be about culture. It's going to be about happenings. Jamaica Tourist Board can't pay for this, I'm just putting that out there. And we need to understand that every time one of us, myself included, steps out on the international stage and says Jamaica, that's a brand that is being promoted. And it is being done for love of country. So the next time you want to sit in your comfortable recliner over there, without having to have exerted yourself, without having to have moved outside of your area of expertise and comfort. Think again before you criticize, before you level unfathomable accusations at persons who, in their sphere, and because they now have influence, have found a way to use all of that to make life work. This is Sheri. I've got lots more to say. Ciao for now.